Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to explore a pretty haunting reality about our modern world. We're going to see exactly why our highly connected, hyper-advanced history is actually written on the absolute most fragile materials our species has ever used. So, okay, let's dive into this. To really wrap our heads around our own fragility, I want you to look around the room you're sitting in right now. Seriously, just take a glance around. Now, imagine jumping forward in time. We're not talking a century or even a millennium. I want you to imagine leaping forward 12 millennia. That is a span of time longer than the distance from the building of the Great Pyramids to your current breath. In 12,000 years, what exactly is left of your room?
Well, if you give your room just a few decades without human maintenance, physical decay begins almost immediately. The roof springs a leak, mold creeps in, metal starts to rust. Fast forward a few centuries, and buildings simply collapse under their own weight. Within just 1,000 years, a forest, a desert, or the ocean has quietly and completely reclaimed the exact space you are occupying right this second.
And that, right there, is why I call us an empire of ghosts. Think about it for a second. We've poured our entire collective knowledge into the cloud. Our photographs, our history, our bank accounts, but all of that relies completely on incredibly fragile materials and stable power grids. Left alone, without air conditioning and replacement parts, our global data stream just dissolves. It dies way faster than parchment and infinitely faster than ink carved into stone.
Honestly, this completely changes how we view human progress. We almost always assume history is a ladder, right? Just climbing steadily and continuously from cave dwellings straight up to modern skyscrapers. But ancient texts and some fringe archaeology propose something super fascinating. What if human civilization is actually more like a wheel? The theory suggests we might be the seventh civilization, meaning 6 times before us, humanity may have risen up, built incredible things, reached a peak, and then been completely reset by some catastrophe.
When you break down the timeline of human history, the numbers are absolutely wild. Anatomically, modern humans have been walking around for roughly 300,000 years. Yet our entire recorded history, it covers only the last 5,000 years. That's less than 2% of our total story, just a tiny sliver. It really makes you wonder what on earth happened during that massive, unrecorded portion of our past.
Do the math, and that leaves 295,000 missing years. That is a staggering amount of time. And keep in mind, the people living 200,000 years ago had the exact same brain capacity as you and I. They survived intense ice ages and crossed oceans without modern boats. They didn't just sit around for hundreds of millennia waiting to invent farming. Humans are simply too curious, too inventive for that. Yet they left almost nothing behind for us to find, except for stones.
Which brings us to the massive, glaring irony of our modern era. Think about the tools of the past, stones and megaliths that survived for millions of years, completely independent of any power grid. Now compare that to us today. We rely on magnetic grains and flash drives that survive for mere decades, completely held hostage by electricity. We are the most highly complex society to ever exist, yet by relying on invisible digital networks, we are arguably the least resilient.
In a weird way, we're actively building a digital dark age. Hard drives mechanically seize up in just a few years. Flash storage slowly leaks its electrical charge over time. And hey, even if the physical storage somehow survived, our code formats become completely obsolete in a decade. Future archaeologists wouldn't even be able to read our data. To them, a massive modern data center would just be a mysterious, dead room full of tangled cables. Without electricity, it's literally just junk.
So, while our whole digital empire is quietly fading away, relying on constant life support just to exist, the massive megaliths from previous worlds remain. They are the witnesses of stone, and they continue to just laugh at time itself. But what's truly mind-blowing is that these ancient structures weren't just simple shelters. They actually acted as massive, highly durable storage devices for ancient knowledge. Just look at some of these staggering engineering anomalies. The Great Pyramid of Giza has a base that is almost perfectly level, and its sides align to the cardinal directions with a precision that modern surveyors actually struggle to achieve without GPS. It encodes complex mathematical ratios right into the rock. Or take Sacsayhuaman in Peru. They used stones weighing over 100 tons and fitted them together without a single drop of mortar. They fit so tightly together that you can't even slide a razor blade between them. It's just incredible mastery of gravity and sheer will.
And these ancient structures go way beyond basic engineering. They literally encode astronomical data. For example, some of them track the slow wobble of the Earth's axis. Now, that is a massive planetary cycle that takes exactly 26,000 years to complete. Tracking a 26,000-year cycle reveals a profound, deeply organized level of understanding that we as modern humans are only just beginning to rediscover today.
It's almost like the builders of these ancient megaliths knew exactly what they were doing. They know about the planet's catastrophic floods, the fires, the shifting poles. They knew where the reset buttons of the planet were. So they deliberately chose this specific medium. They understood that stone is the only language guaranteed to survive a world in transit.
Okay, let's turn that lens back on ourselves for a thought experiment. If a catastrophe wiped out the power grids today, what would a future civilization actually find 100,000 years from now? Well, they absolutely wouldn't find our books. Paper turns to dust. They wouldn't even find our towering steel skyscrapers because steel oxidizes and dissolves right back into the soil over that kind of timescale.
What they would actually find are the blunt, heavy, massive things we leave behind. They'd find the sprawling, totally empty networks of our underground subway tunnels, heavily laced with reinforced concrete. Imagine finding that without any context. These might look like massive, mysterious subterranean labyrinths carved out by some incredibly industrious, mole-like civilization.
Alongside those concrete tunnels, they'd also discover our massive dams, aggressively carved deep into the bedrock of rivers. And they would definitely find our deep mining craters, those massive open-pit mines that are literally permanent scars in the Earth's crust. I mean, some of these are so huge they're visible from space. We have permanently changed the surface of this planet.
But you know what? Our most defining marker probably won't be architectural at all. We're going to be known in the geological rock record simply by a sudden, sharp spike of really odd chemistry. Future geologists will find a distinct layer of microplastics, unusual isotopes from our nuclear reactions, and a dense global layer of pollution. We'll be identified merely as that strange civilization that rapidly rewired the Earth's chemistry and then just vanished.
I know. That sounds incredibly grim, doesn't it? But actually, there's a strange kind of comfort in these cycles. Every ending is just a beginning for something else. Because as the seventh civilization, we're acting as a bridge. We carry the faint shadows of the past, but we are also preparing the ground for whatever simpler, tougher world eventually takes root in the ruins. Our true responsibility is to soften the crash for the eighth civilization, to build wiser, not just taller.
And you, watching this right now, are the current link in that exact bridge. You are part of an unbroken chain of memory that stretches back through ice ages and lost cities. Never forget that you carry atoms forged in ancient stars. Sure, our digital data might be terrifyingly temporary, but the deep human curiosity that brought you to this explainer tonight, that is over 300,000 years old.
The stones are going to remember whatever they can, the oceans will keep their secrets, and the sky will surely witness the next beginning. But the final choice? That's on us. Will we just be a mythic legend of a vanished people who magically tamed lightning to summon images from nowhere? Or will we successfully pass down the vital, surviving habit of asking deep questions? It's completely up to us to decide what truly remains of our digital soul.